Episode 172 of 5 Drinks Through Midnight. In the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we are headed back into the city to go to Jungle Bird to talk to Claire Marin, founder and head distiller of Pollinator Spirits. But before we do, like and subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you like what we're doing. Let's get started. For joining me. 5 drinks through midnight, 5 drinks, 5 questions, midnight, whatever comes first. Thank you so much for having us at Jungle Bird. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Thank
you. Beautiful day in New York City.
Yeah, it's great. And this is a beautiful, beautiful bar. So thank you so much for the invite. This is
of course.
Fucking gorgeous.
The lighting in here on a sunny day is crazy. It's beautiful in the evening too, because the lighting's very pretty here too. But the light coming in from everywhere is just gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Like when you said we were going to be on the second floor, I was excited. So this is fucking amazing. I guess let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
What are we drinking?
It's spritz weather, of course.
Okay,
so,
awesome.
Crimson, our Crimson Spritz. It's really delicious, made with my Crimson Amaro.
Okay.
It's an aperitivo style Amaro, 15 botanicals. The base for it is our Pollinator gin.
Okay.
So juniper forward, a lot of citrus, wormwood. There's gentian for the little bit of the bitter. And it's colored with cochineal, so it's 100% natural. There's nothing artificial in it.
Okay.
And it is damn good.
Awesome.
I can't wait for you to try it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Nice.
That is really
Right?
good. Yeah.
I think in here too we have a little mom and pop red citrus vermouth-esque situation going on. It's very good.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yum.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, that is perfect for a day like today. Like,
yeah, I figured we'd start off
easy. Ease into it. Yeah, we got a lot of drinking to do.
Yeah, that's right. We're pros here.
Yeah. Professionals. All right, so question one, it's always an origin story.
Okay.
But, so, from publishing to beekeeping to gin to vodka to whiskey to PR, how did you get started in the spirits industry?
Geez, how did I start? Well, I was 18. I was really taken by agriculture.
Okay.
Supporting agriculture upstate. My partner took me up there for the first time to the Western Catskills. It's really a little bit remote. By the Delaware River, the other side of the river is Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So it's western. And every farmer was about to lose their farm. There was just a lot of, it wasn't a thriving area, agriculturally, even though New York, Philadelphia, Middletown, all these big towns are getting all their stuff from upstate. That particular area just wasn't really thriving.
Okay.
And the farm distilling movement was just getting started.
Okay.
And this was 2003, I went up there, started beekeeping, and we'll get to that in a minute, but then by 2010, I decided, wow, this farm distilling movement is crazy. It was like 2008, 2009. I started playing in my kitchen with whiskeys, with honey, with maple syrup, with, what could I do, It was delicious. I had a great time. All my friends were like, oh my God, this is great.
Did you have because I read that you were just mixing away at your kitchen table?
Yes. I mean, that's literally how it started.
Did you have just a small house still that you were, or did you have a bigger?
No, I mean, it was, I wasn't distilling yet.
Oh, okay.
I really was not distilling.
Okay.
And I was just blending whiskeys that I knew, that I liked, and different combinations. And I came to one that was rye, has natural honey notes. Rye grows like a weed in New York State.
Yep.
It uses very little water. It's super sustainable. It's a cover crop for farmers, so it helps them with erosion. And also when they can't grow anything else, they're kind of making money a little bit, which never happens to a farmer. They have to work so hard for everything. So I just thought, wow, this is like intense. This could really work. And so I love the spice, the jagged edges of the rye with a drop of my honey.
Okay.
Late summer honey, early fall, like it was just beautiful honey notes already in the rye, added a little bit more, brought it out. I was like, I'm onto something.
Right.
So I approached a distillery up in the Finger Lakes to do this for me. So
Nice.
listen, I have this product that I would love for you to make. I hit it off with the owner. It was great. It was we had great relationship. So that went on. It was 2013 when I first bottled the New York Honey Rye is what it was called initially, and the company was Catskill Provisions. So I had honey, maple syrup. I did chocolate honey truffles. Anything I could do with honey, I was like, let's do it.
Nice.
And then, of course, now I'm playing with rye, with a little bit of honey. And I came into the market and I did okay. I was like selling out of my car, Union Square Wines. The first guy that bought 10 cases from me on the spot. And we're still friends.
Nice.
He's still really supportive of me. He once in a while, I'm down in the dumps, and he's like, "You're a rock star. You're awesome." I go in for my pep talk.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I can do this again. And so I've met amazing people in the industry. I think we're super fortunate to be in hospitality / distilling, production, beverage, agriculture too. I mean, there's 152 farm distilleries in New York State alone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
An awful lot of business supporting agriculture. So I think we've come a very, very long way in the state, certainly in the country, since St. George was the first one in 1982, I want to say, in California. That broke the, prohibition, farmers aren't allowed to do this thing. That, I don't know whose silly idea that was. But, so it was really exciting. And, now my spent grains are given to farmers. I donate all of it. So it really goes full circle. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And we'll get back to that. And that's another one of my follow-up questions. But did you give your partner, or did your partner give you bees? And that's how you got into bees?
Yeah, so it was a gift.
Yeah, that was so awesome.
2003, we got together. I want to say it was 2002, really. And it was like the end of the year. Like we got together in November. And then all of a sudden holidays, and I'm like, what am I going to give her? She's so special. Like, oh my God, I think this is the missing piece, this is my person of my life, and it really felt like that from the start. And she's an ag major. She was an ag major, went to Cornell, and I thought, okay, agriculture, ag, I have the agricultural thing, in my head. And so I started looking for unique things, fig tree, I went all over the place. Beekeeping kit. I'm like, nobody's ever given her that.
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got the biggest, most amazing, complete beekeeping kit. We started watching, videos on it together, and then we said, we wait till spring, fast forward to spring. We set up our hive together. I still have a photo of that day doing it. I thought I had found a gem that nobody had found before. To me, it was just life-changing. Total 180. And for her, she was like, yeah, it's cool. So I was like, whoa. I found my thing. It was great.
How big is the hive now?
So now I have 4 to 6 hives at my house all the time. Last year, I actually lost them a year ago, so I didn't rebuild. But this spring, we're going to have them again. But I run, with the help of 2 other beekeepers, about 300 hives in upstate New York. So they're in different counties, because up there we find that you can't really have more than 9, 10 in one area. That just isn't enough for them to not start cannibalizing a little bit. You have 3 strong ones and 4 weak ones. So, so we've found that separating them is the best way to go.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's cool.
We used to have
Honey's cool.
Yeah. We used to have bees in my neighborhood, and the guy had his hive on the roof, and something happened, and they all swarmed to the lamppost, and then someone had a shit fit, and they had to get rid of the bees. So
I have to tell you, it's nature's way of procreating, right? Because they double. They make 2 queens. They have 1 queen, they make another one, and they make a decision, okay, this many are gonna stay with this queen, and the other ones are gonna go forage for another one.
Okay.
So now they split, and now you have 2 big hives. So it's
That's
nature's
awesome.
way. So it's, a swarm is a natural occurrence, and we need to kind of get used to just saying, okay, I lost 50% of my bees typically, but it's kind of what they need to keep going. So we have to accept that this happens, But it's interesting. In New York, we have a cop who's a beekeeper.
Okay.
And he's called every time
The bees
to get swarms from lampposts or wherever they are, because it happens anywhere.
Yeah.
So they call the police department, and they send the one guy who knows how to do this.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great job, but I miss the bees. The bees were cool. Like again, we had local honey, and it was very cool.
Yeah.
Like it was neighborhood honey.
Yeah, they're amazing. You
Yeah.
could, it's a law in New York. You could have bees.
Yeah.
You really can. You'll have an inspector come and visit. Once a year, they just come and make sure that everything's all right. But it is legal for you to have, bees.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Cool.
So, beekeeping and distillation kind of almost require a lot of patience. Do you think that being a beekeeper helped you become a distiller?
I think so. It's interesting that you say that, because there is a lot of patience in both that you need. I think in distilling sometimes downtime can be difficult for some people. I've seen it. Personally, have seen people that I brought to the distillery to work, or, we are in an area that's pretty remote. You have to make your own busyness, your own work. You have to kind of be your self-starter, and so there's a lot of observation, and you have to be okay observing things and not let it, drive you crazy. The bees, there's a lot of observation. You're observing an incredibly complex world that they build. Everything is a purpose. Everything, there's a reason for it. The smells, the sounds, all those things. I think there is a similarity, because as I'm saying that, when I'm distilling, I am listening to the sounds of the still. Fermentation, I love to put my ear to the fermenter, to the wall of the fermenter, because I hear it. Is my fermentation doing great, or is it kind of taking a nap? And I hear it bubbling, it's so much fun.
Almost a hum, like a hive, if you will.
Totally.
That's awesome.
Totally. So it's such an interesting question. I love that.
Well, there we go. I think that's an awesome origin story.
That's a good start.
So cool. Yeah. So, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Question 2, drink 2. What are we drinking?
We're having the most amazing classic bee's knees.
Excellent.
This is made with my pollinator gem, which couldn't be more perfect for a bee's knees. Lemon, honey.
Oh, that is good.
Right?
Oh, that is clean, crisp,
beautiful.
And so refreshing.
Great cocktail.
Oh.
Not too sweet, perfectly made. Really. And it's pretty too.
Yeah, it's
just so pretty.
Glassware here is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That is just So, question 2.
Yeah.
You have so many roles and responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
What's a day in the life like for you?
I've been asked this before, and I think the biggest thing that I have to say is that every day's a little different.
Okay.
I manage it by compartmentalizing. that day.
Okay.
Because otherwise I get overwhelmed, you know?
Yeah.
So if I'm in the city, which I spend typically 3 days in the city, Tuesday through Thursday, then I wake up, go to the gym, walk the dogs before that, get into my office, which I created the company from that office.
Okay.
You know,
Awesome.
so it's a space that I love, and big windows to New York City streets. We live on the Flower Street,
Okay.
so it's super busy.
That's awesome.
You know, immediately walking the dogs at 6 in the morning, it's full of people everywhere. It's busy, you know, like the whole flower trade is on these 2 blocks between 7th Avenue and Broadway.
Okay.
On 20th Street. And so it's hectic.
That's awesome though.
You know, and it's so wonderful because like you could be in whatever mood, but you come out to that street and you see all this hustle and bustle and beautiful flowers everywhere and designers and then, you know, restaurant owners. Everybody goes to 20th Street to buy their stuff.
Yep.
So it's really an interesting little thing, and it just kind of fuels me right away. I get a lot of energy from that. And I feel really inspired. And then I start doing either my reach out to people, following up, admin, you know, things like that. I mean, there's so much to do. A lot of phone calls, you know, a lot of Zooms, planning, getting the team ready, excited. You know, there's a lot of that. I have a couple of people that work for me upstate, 2 in New York also, so kind of keeping everybody, making them feel like a team and together and stuff. All the ordering, I do all the ordering, so, you know, from labels to botanicals to grains, you know, all those things, bottles, like all these things have to be, you know, coordinated.
Yeah.
And then I'll go out and see accounts.
Okay.
You know, go on my visits between like 11:30 and 7.
Okay.
I'm just out, you know, get my backpack, a couple of bottles,
There you go.
and just make the rounds and go see people.
That's
and
awesome.
Meet friends, and you know, it's great. It's great because again, it's never the same.
Right.
There's a lot of subway riding.
Yep.
You know, and then in the evening I'll take, you know, a car home or something if I'm in Brooklyn or something like that, you know. But that's a typical day in the city. Upstate, completely different. The distillery is on our home base. We have 40 acres, you know, a lot of space. And the distillery is 200 feet away from the house. So typically get up in the morning and then go into the distillery. You know, get my SOP out, you know, what am I doing today? The plan, obviously, there's a plan always, you know, typically. And so then the crew will come in, let's say we're bottling, make sure that everything is there. We have a warehouse that is maybe 3,000 feet away, so we need to go there, get the tractor, bring the bottles to bottle, you know, so that's pretty cool. I love riding the tractor. I always steal the keys to the tractor. Like, I got tractor duty. Because it's so great.
That's
it's like
awesome.
Riding the tractor along fields and, you know, birds and nature, whatever. I'm just like the luckiest person ever. Like, I'm just doing things that I love to do.
That's fucking awesome.
It feels that way to me every time.
That's awesome.
And it really doesn't. I want to film it. I want to, capture this moment, you know, all the time. Because it's never just a, whatever.
Never.
You know, but I feel that way when I'm riding the train too.
Yep.
You know, I film like the outdoor trains, the above ground trains. Oh my God, I'm always filming those. Because I'm like, oh God, this city I never get tired of it.
Yeah, well, it changes. Like again,
You know?
you ride that train every day, but like again, it's not the same view because the city changes
It really
drastically.
is, like the vibe is so different and stuff, you know. But then, you know, upstate, so back to like a production day, it's very physical. So that's why I have to exercise a lot, because I really honestly, like my body's beginning to be like, hey, your shoulders, they're not made for 50-pound bags. You know, I just had an awakening like a month ago or so, because you know, my shoulders were like, whoa, what is this? So I have to always stay really strong.
Gotcha.
You know, to just be able to deal with it. Beekeeping is another thing too, a lot of heavy lifting. You gotta lift up over your head a lot of times, 50 pounds, 80 pounds. I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
So
Gotta keep making this.
But so far, it's a whole. I'm holding up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Where do you find inspiration when, like, because you kind of just nailed it. Like, you're living in the best of both worlds, but where do you find inspiration to, like, making your amaros and, like, you're covering the gamut on pretty much every sphere, but, like, which is so fucking cool. But, like, where do you find inspiration?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like when I travel.
Okay.
It's really when I get very creative thoughts.
Okay.
You know, when I'm here, I'm working. I'm in it. I'm deep in it. You know, when I go away, even sometimes on the plane or whatever vessel I'm on, you know, I just kind of go, oh, I just had an idea. Or I just have, you know, I'm in Italy and I have an Amaro, I have a Negroni. Oh my God, it's the best drink. It's one of the best drinks in the world. How can I make this with Pollinator Spirits?
Yep.
Like, what do I need to make? And that's how really there was a need for the Crimson to be born.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't like a thing that just happened. It took 2 years to perfect it.
Okay.
My partner Kathy helped me with the initial recipe.
Okay.
She loves to clink around with, you know, all the botanicals.
Gotcha.
Raids my botanical closet. And, you know, starts, you know, I see, like, you know, flying all over the place. And she has, like, 6 different recipes. And so for her, that's fun.
Okay.
You know, she's in a very different business, you know, but it's so fun to do it on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then she'll, like, give it to me and she'll say, you know, and I'm like, it sucks. We need 28 different tweaks here.
Yeah.
But she did the initial, right?
Yeah.
So then you know, and then the color, this, that.
Yeah.
So it took like 2 years of
Okay.
trying because it's 15 botanicals that all want to be very forward.
Sure.
You know, but inspiration comes really during travel the most. I think that's where I'm most like relaxed, open to new ideas. The same thing with, I made a nocino. Again, in Italy, northern Italy, we went skiing and everybody makes a nocino because they all have a black walnut tree. Duh. And you know where they grow a lot? Upstate New York. And no one makes nocino.
All right.
So I'm bringing it back up there. Now I'm going to raid my neighbors' yards.
Walnuts, yeah.
I got numbers of everybody that has a walnut tree now.
All right.
And we're going to go. I got to figure out how to get up there and do it. You're going to
Yeah.
need some sort of like apple picking thing.
Like that thing that shakes the tree and they all fall out.
Right, something like that. But because you got to pick them when they're young, so
Right.
they're hard to shake.
Gotcha.
Because they're not quite ready.
Gotcha.
You got to like almost cut them.
Cut 'em,
You know,
okay.
so I got to kind of figure that part out. But I'm sure there's something on YouTube.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Some of them
You'll
not
figure
before. Yeah, so you know, I think that's kind of when it happens. You know, the gin, bespoke gin I make from wines.
Okay.
And we were in Spain, and a lot of gins are made from wine
Okay.
there. So it's a common, you know, next step from wine. And so I was like, wow, we have the Finger Lakes. There's so much wine up there.
Yeah.
You know, it's 2.5 hours north of us. So I get wines from them, and I made it. You know, so that inspiration definitely travel, I think.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite place that you like to travel? Or is
It's hard
it
to say because
open everywhere? Like,
yeah, I mean, depends, you know, what mood, but like Spain for me is, you know, I was born in Spain,
Okay.
so for me when I go there, I just feel like, wow, these are my people.
Gotcha.
Like, I really feel like, wow, this is my tribe.
All right.
Like, you know, people talk like me.
Yeah.
They're intense. You're watching them from afar, you don't know if they're like having a fight or they're talking.
yeah.
They're never fighting.
They were fighting, yeah. They're just having a
It's just
conversation.
like, they're intense. Like, so I'm like, oh my God. That's
Love
really
it.
good. So that's cool. And then there's some Caribbean islands that are like
Nice.
insanely amazing because you just relax.
Gotcha.
You just hang out.
Love
I
it.
love snorkeling.
Okay.
Scuba diving.
Awesome.
It's really fun.
Awesome. I guess well, that kind of follows up. My last follow-up is, with everything that you do, you live like best of both worlds, kind of, you know, city life, you know, Tuesday through Thursday, country life, Saturday or Friday through Sunday. Like, how do you recharge? Like, what do you do to, like, just keep it all fresh? Or is it just, you're just in love with, like, what you're doing?
No, I
Like,
think, you know, we all need a way to get time to get away from it. Right?
Okay.
You need a tunnel from going from one place to another, kind of. And so the only thing about what I'm doing that's a little, it kind of gets in the way a little bit, and that's where travel is so important, is that I work here and I work there. I work kind of everywhere I go.
Yep.
So that's the part that is most difficult, because when I'm up there, I want to go to the distiller. It's just 200 feet away. It's calling my name. And Kathy's like, it's Saturday. You can't. No work. And so, that's the only thing that I find that I'm ignoring a call.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Frank Kafka, like he told me that he doesn't really enjoy like going out anymore because he talks about that he's always working. And that's kind of, I guess that is my, like, when you go out, like...
When I go out, I'm like, do I know them?
Yeah.
What do they carry? What's behind the bar?
What's behind...
Oh, what's in this drink?
Yeah.
Can I talk to the bartender?
Yeah.
What is he into?
Do you feel it?
You get very... I have a hard time separating.
Yeah. But I suppose even traveling, you're kind of like, I guess, like, inspiration came from, like, now you're going to do walnuts. Like,
observing.
Like, it's kind of, but that's what you said. Like, it's kind of, like,
it's the observation of people's behaviors, which I really enjoy doing.
Yeah, same.
Like, I just love to sit at a cafe in a city.
Yeah.
And just watch it go by.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I could do that, like, every single day, a couple hours a day.
Same. Like,
it's therapy.
Yeah, same. That's
so fun, so freeing.
Yeah. Especially, like, you find a cafe, bar, whatever, that they have front windows open, and you can just sit there
just do it.
And drink all that, like, just, and again, I'm not saying drink get hammered, but like you just sit in that booth and you just watch the world go by. Right. It's one of the best things.
Having time to do that, I think is, obviously we know time is the biggest luxury.
Yeah.
And I think you get to a point in your life that you're like, that's the only thing I'm lacking is more of that, right? Because, it's neat though.
Yes. Well, there we go. Those are my 5 questions of question 2. So,
I like it.
There we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
We're having one of my favorite drinks in New York. It's called a Glory Box.
Okay.
And it was born right here at this bar in Jungle Bird.
Okay.
In Chelsea. It has our bespoke gin, made from wines, very floral gin, really beautiful. A little bit of lavender, lemon, and then there's Cordovan Dix. It's a Mexican bitter.
Okay.
Really beautiful. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
Awesome.
And it's also so pretty too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's great. Yeah.
And then, what do we got sprinkled on top?
A little fresh lavender.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of trouble. Like you
fuck
can
yeah,
have
that's
3 of these.
Yeah, that's.
It's happened to me here.
That's dangerous. That is so damn good. That's those go down quick and oh man. Next thing you're gonna know, the stairs are gonna be a problem walking down. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a really beautiful earthiness to it, and then the citrus, the lavender in the nose too. I love the nose of lavender in there.
Oh.
So pretty.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
amazing.
Yep.
Chrissy Harris, she rocks.
All right. So, question 3. We call this our talking shit segment.
Okay.
Because we've had 3 drinks and we're a little bit now more open with each other and a little bit. But also, this comes from our friend Leo, so like I'm more like, so I'm,
yes.
I have to.
He is the glue between
Yes,
us.
he is.
Leo. He's amazing.
Love him. Like he is just
too.
one of like those. But I gotta read it because again, he wrote like a full paragraph of the question. So. You prioritize local sourcing that ensures nothing goes to waste, partnering with neighborhood farmers by repurposing spent grain as livestock and feed, as we talked before.
Correct.
But sustainability is more than just a practice; it's a commitment, it's a way of life. What does this truly mean to you, and how do you bring it to life?
It is a way of life. It becomes a way of life, right? You can't. you become very aware of waste.
Yeah.
You know, our society is so wasteful. We've been like that, right? And, you know, I think there's a little more preservation in Europe, places like that, you know, that have gone through wars and have, you know, loss and things like that. And I think, in particular in America, we are, you know, the land of plenty, really. You know, we are warm and, you know, mostly everybody has, you know, those creature comforts. But I think there is a lot of waste in our society in general, you know. So I'm particularly sensitive to it, being, again, coming at distilling from an agricultural viewpoint. I think it's extremely important to save as much water as you can, to be thoughtful when you're using cleaning water, for example. If it's something that you're just rinsing a machine or something like that, we collect it and we'll use it again, you know. Even though we have a ton of natural springs on our mountain. You know, we're up on a hill that's 1,800 feet, and there are natural occurring springs up there, which is wonderful for a distillery, obviously. We have two big ponds, and then the additional springs. So one of the ways is definitely saving as much water as we can. Giving our spent grains to farmers, 100%. Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's just silly. And they appreciate it a lot, because I make 3 batches per batch. Each batch that I make, let's say I'm making GNS to make vodka and gin from, I will make 3 batches each with 800 to 900 pounds of grain.
Okay.
So it's an awful lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 2,400 pounds. Like, why would I waste that? You know? So I think it's, you know, it's really important to do, for sure. Chickens love it.
Okay.
When we do the corn thing, oh my God. Friends of mine that have chickens, I like fill, you know,
Buckets.
5-gallon buckets with, you know, for the chickens, and they go crazy apparently, like they just go bananas.
Nice.
So it's great, too. But also boxes, for example, instead of being, wasteful, again, really, for lack of a better word, is I reuse the boxes that the empty bottles come in, and just label the front of the box instead of having a company make our bottles, make our boxes, replace them, throw the other ones out. You know, it's spatially bad, and then it's just more paper, more trees, you know. So I think in thinking about these things, it becomes an obsession in a way, you know?
Yeah.
We reuse things a lot. If we could rinse a bag, use it again for something else or something like that, yes. But of course, never, you know, if there's bacteria involved, never you know, gets reused or anything like that. But I think it's really, it's a mindset that we have that it's, you know, pet peeve, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think that's awesome. I mean, still, like, that idea going in to not be wasteful, I think, is really kind of a great thing. And,
Yeah. It's a good exercise, right, for all of us, I think. I think we tend to just be wasteful, who cares, whatever.
Yeah. Just throw it out,
Just get rid of it, you know.
And
I'm always reusing, like, you know, the buckets, for example, oh my God, at the crew, it's always like, oh, we gotta wash it, yeah, wash it, because you're gonna need it. It's so nice to just be able to say, we have it, we don't need to buy another one, or dump that big piece of plastic in a landfill.
That's never gonna go anywhere.
Never gonna go, you know, it's just, you gotta get things that are easily disposed of, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then he wanted me to follow up with, you donate 3% of your sales to pollinator causes and LGBTQ organizations.
Yes.
Across which, more importantly, you're always looking to expand awareness of these issues.
I am, because I think people do want to help.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't know how. They're like, how am I gonna, you know, bees are in trouble.
Yeah.
What do I do? So I'm like, look, you could buy more organic if you can, if you could afford it. Go for the organic thing, because pesticides are a huge reason why pollinators are in trouble. You know, they're meant to kill any insect, and it kills every insect.
Right.
You know, so then you have hummingbirds, butterflies. I mean, do we really want to kill these things? I mean, no, we don't. You know, so I think chemical companies, you know, make these things so they're cheap, they're easy, and you know, there's no issue for them that way. But you know, I think the biggest thing that we could do is just be careful never use Roundup, for example, if you can. I mean, it just kills everything arbitrarily, like all of it. You know, so you know, I think it's really important for us to raise awareness. So anything that I can do to talk about it a little bit with people, and not like be that activist person that everybody's like, oh my God, they stop listening to you. Yeah. But I think it's really important for you to gently remind, hey, you too could do this. You know, using things that are chemical free is extremely important too. You know, I don't know why, like, ketchup has to last 10 years. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna use it within a year. Why do you have to put crap in it? Yeah. You know? So it's that sort of mindfulness, thoughtfulness that means a lot. So yeah, 3% of everything we make goes to pollinator causes, LGBTQ, because obviously we need all the help we can get. But also climate causes too, in general. You know, we just need to also be aware, raising awareness for that. And I do it in different ways. I'm doing an event on Sunday at Libera Bar with Grotto, you know, great group, and I'm sponsoring that, and it's there's going to be a flower bar, so you're going to be able to kind of like as you leave or when you arrive, you just make yourself
flowers,
some, you know, a little flower thing.
Fucking awesome.
And then I'm giving out packets of milkweed seeds so that you could, in your, you know, window in Brooklyn, get a couple of pots and grow these beautiful flowers that attract monarch butterflies and all kinds of pollinators as well.
That's awesome.
Know? So I think it you know, it's pretty, and it just makes the world a prettier place.
Awesome. If there was one thing that you would, if for somebody who would not be familiar with you guys, what's one thing that you'd want them to know about you?
Pollinator Spirits in general.
Yeah.
Like Pollinator Spirits, thoughtfully made, sustainably made spirits. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is expression. We were talking about it before. I think all the flavors of every single thing that I make is totally naturally arrived at, but it's also so expressive. You know, the vodka's not just a vodka. It drinks almost more like a tequila. You know, the gins are gins. You know you're drinking gin. There's a lot of spirits out there in particular that are so toned down. Yeah. I think it's like tone deaf music.
Yeah.
I want expression, up, down, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. You know.
Flavor.
I want you to know what you're drinking.
That's awesome. Well, there we go. Yeah. See, we didn't talk that much shit.
No. Oh, wow. Okay.
We're all good.
I see you got a little deeper under there. Yeah, I see that. I was like, whoa, this is heavy.
But there we go. That's question 3.
I'm glad it wasn't the Vesper. I would have been like, what?
Question 4, drink 4. What are we drinking?
We're having a delicious Boulevardier.
Oh, very nice.
Wonderful combination, and a way to showcase our Crimson Amaro again. But it's so nice with the rye. The rye is like between 5 and 6 year old barrels that I would blend. I blend 3 per batch, and then before proofing it with our mountain water, I don't distill the water. As well up there, which is great, much more flavor. I finish them in a barrel that I've coated with a tiny bit of honey.
Oh. Very
tiny bit of honey, maybe a half a gallon per 53 gallons.
Okay.
Very small amount. Spends 2 weeks in that. Gets just a little bit of the air of honey, you know, just a kiss of honey.
Okay.
You know, and then we proof it.
Awesome.
So it should be really nice.
Fuck yeah. That's so cool.
Make a really nice Boulevardier.
That's awesome. Cheers.
Hope you like it.
I want to love it. Oh yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Come on.
Fuck yeah.
I've had Boulevardiers before, I have to say. Not this good.
Yeah. No. Wow.
Yeah. I could do this.
Yeah.
Luca's perfect time
Yeah.
to have this. Great segue.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Kudos to Luca. Like, that is the...
Wow.
Yeah.
I know we're here to talk, but...
Yeah, no.
I take a couple.
Yeah, exactly. Worst part about the interview is always the silent moments and people drinking, but it's just like, but honestly, like...
Oh.
Fuck yeah. So, question 1. What were your biggest challenges when you got started? And what are your biggest challenges now?
They're so different.
Yeah, see, that's...
Wow. When I got started, you could go in many different directions in this business. You know, I think you have to make a certain amount of mistakes in order to be in the business, to understand it. You know,
Yep.
I don't think you could read that. Like, I studied distilling. I could learn distilling. And then I apprenticed at distilleries, so I put into work, and it's chemistry. It's, you know, you follow a recipe almost, right? A roadmap. There's really no roadmap to start a spirits brand.
Right.
You could go in 20 different directions. You know, do you distribute everywhere right away, or you just become bigger in your own backyard? You know, and so that was a challenge. I think knowledge, you know, how do I access knowledge from people that are going to be fair and open and give me their knowledge? I think when I started, there were maybe 3 distilleries in New York State. There's 152 now. You know, so that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then you have 3 or 4 people that are like, do I know her? Do I know them? Like, who are your buds? You know, so I think we were all kind of coming up, learning so much.
Okay.
I saw people that I worked with that I looked up to, learning as they went, also like I did, because we were all kind of trying to figure it out. You know, and so the challenge is definitely access to knowledge, access to experience. For a woman, I have to say, I don't want to dwell on this at all. I have amazing men in my life. I love men. My father, my partner's father, like, we're all very, very close, and I have no issues with it. But it was a particularly difficult male-led industry. So that was a challenge. For a woman of my stature to come in and say, I'm the distiller.
Sure.
They were like, or I have a brand, oh yeah, whatever, you know. So there was a lot of that, you know, but that wasn't for too long. That was like for a couple of years, wasn't forever. It turned, it definitely turned. I think we became more seen, more common in rooms where there were distillers, you know, but I was in rooms with big guys with big beards and black t-shirts, and then there was me.
Yeah.
You know, so I get it. I mean, I was like a totally different package, you know, so it took a little while, but again, not too long. But that was the biggest stuff. I think, you know, finances too, right? You gotta figure it out. You're like, wow, this is a deep pocket business. Yeah. You gotta show up. You gotta pay up. You gotta promote. You gotta do what it requires.
Yep.
So that's tough too. But I got through it, you know, got through that. And now I think the challenge is next level. What am I ready? You know, like, that's a big thing for me. I don't want to lose quality or the focus on sustainability, flavor, all of that. I'm not going to compromise. I don't want to compromise. So the biggest challenge is to really stick with that and grow and continue to be profitable and be able to have people be happy in the company and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I totally hear it, like, again, because you don't fit like the normal distiller, but again, no woman really does, and like you have a lot of the like
we look different.
Yeah,
we really do. We just don't fit in that.
Yeah, But I mean,
Yeah.
I've been having this conversation a lot lately, and
Yeah.
like I feel more women need to be distillers because one, not even just like chemistry wise, your palate is way better than a man's palate.
It's very different.
Right off the
Yeah,
bat, like
yeah.
you immediately are like women are immediately super tasters. Like
Yeah.
your palate is way better than a dude's palate, and like Bernie Lubar's, like he has told me always, like he hates going to like trade shows because of the cork dorks that want to get into a fight over like mash bills and everything else, and they want to like like everybody always said, like again, no one ever believes that a woman is a distiller, and like that's always just such
I've been asked that question.
Yeah,
and
like
I forget where I was, and this guy was really serious. He's like, so who made this? And I said, I'm the distiller. And, very like, I don't really, the master distiller.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm sorry, there's like maybe 3 in the world. Like, stop with the master.
Yeah.
We're always learning, anyway. But he was like, so you're the distiller. Well, so who's the master distiller? When I said it was me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I was like,
dude, there's
a
dude above you that...
There's gotta be a dude above you,
yeah.
And I was just like, It turns out he works for Maker's Mark. So not to say they're horrible, but this guy was just used to very, that thing. But I can imagine like, being a tequila maker in Mexico. I mean, that cannot be any easier, or you know what I mean? So I think there are many more of us now, and it's a good thing, I think, for the industry. There's been certain innovations in flavor, there's a certain courage, and yes, I believe you're right in the palate. Diversity is good for creativity, especially in flavors. Like we all could really learn from different cultures. And,
Yeah, and I wasn't just spouting bullshit. It's actually a
scientific
fact that women do actually have a better palate.
Absolutely.
So,
better somms and chefs and things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
So
easier. It's easier for us.
Yeah, like you have a better palate than men. How do you balance like the artistic side versus the business side?
That is the biggest. It's probably it should be on my challenges. Because, I am particularly naturally creative.
Yep.
I just always have been since a kid. I just always created stuff, made things from scratch, so this is very much, distilling is very much a creative process too. So it fits every part of my being. It really does. The business side is extremely important. And so I balance that all the time in being able to just feel free to create, to do, to, have the kind of day that I need to have, that I want to have, that makes me happy. But at the same time, I need to fulfill the business sense of it. So I think it's a matter of being able to compartmentalize again. It's really important for me to be able to do that in particular, to be able to just focus on, I'm being creative. This is it. This is a place where I can. And then, the business side of things has to, it's not the funnest part for me, but it's necessary.
Yeah, gotcha.
Gotta do it.
Do you ever get in arguments with yourself? One being the business and then one being the artist?
Totally. All the time. Don't let anybody tell you that out. Because there's no doubt about it. I mean, constant, it's a tug of war. Constantly trying, one side trying to win over the other all the time, But I think making sure or trying to have that balance is the most important thing that you can do, because then your creative side can thrive. If the business side is taken care of, then there's less guilt, there's less, that heaviness that can come from, oh, shoot, I didn't take care of that, or I didn't do that, or I didn't pay for that, or how am I going to pay for that? There's all those questions that hit you.
But then also that idea of like what we kind of talked about in question 1, the idea of patience, the artistic patience side will be a beneficial business side eventually.
Yes, no, without a doubt.
Yeah,
You need to give things time, and it's not immediate. But I think that's where having a good group of friends, people that you can reach out to, that it's really, really important to be able to have space for that.
Perfect. Well, there we go. That's question 4. Cheers.
Cheers.
Question 5, drink 5. Last drink of the night. What are we drinking?
We're having a Vesper.
Well, that's one way to end the night.
Fantastic Vesper. I know, I love, that's like my finale, typically, if I can do it.
Okay. Rule of thumb?
It's delish. A Pollinator Vesper, Pollinator vodka, Pollinator gin, a little bit of Lillet.
Very nice.
Genius. I think who made it famous was 007.
Yeah.
I think it was like
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily. Shake it over rice and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'll have one of those.
So will I. Certainly.
Yeah.
there's, it's a sexy drink. There's something sexy about it.
Yeah. The first drink that was actually made by an author, not an actual bartender. So,
Really?
yeah, the guy that wrote
Wow.
007 or
Yeah.
James Bond was, he wrote it, and then so that was it. So,
Well, it's,
cheers.
cheers.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's a good one.
Wow. We need that dude from Weidenberg to ask me where I get the best martini in town right now. 'cause
Best martini in New York.
That's right there.
Really good. Excellent. Tastes
Yeah.
delicious.
That is good.
Perfect.
That is nice. All right, so question 5
Yeah.
comes down to the flip of the Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. The coin will give us the answer. You do not have to answer unless you feel so inclined. So one side says fuck yeah, one side says fuck no. This is our Irish coin, which was all about Queen Maeve. And Queen Maeve was the Celtic goddess of war, love, and intoxication. And I felt that this coin fit perfectly for you because her hobby was she made mead. So she had bees
Oh, my goodness,
and everything. So
yeah.
which is why we have bees on the
Oh,
cup of
aw.
it. So, but
I was meant to do this.
yes,
Yeah.
she married all 5 kings of Ireland. The last king that she married loved his bull more than her, so she cut off both their heads. And so we have a decapitated
Wow.
bull on one side. And then the prince got mad and one day while she was taking a bath, shot her in the head and killed her with a piece of cheese from a slingshot. So the moral of the story is, don't fuck with Irish cheddar.
Yeah.
So but question 5, do you ever worry that your bees are secretly running the show and you're just their human representative? Says fuck yeah.
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 No, I agree.
There you go. You do it.
It's right.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I believe that as a beekeeper, honestly, I think we're just helpers to them. Like
Okay.
we aid them in what they have to do, but they're so doing it, they don't need us.
Yeah.
They don't need us at all. So yeah,
Right.
it's correct.
Correct.
I
Awesome.
agree. Yeah.
Well, there. Thank you so much for joining me. That's
Yeah.
5 drinks down, 5 questions answered. Thank you so much for having me on Jungle Bird.
It's been a pleasure.
This is so awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Jungle Bird, for hosting us.
Yes, thank you.
And Lucas for being an amazing bartender. Perfect.
Until we can
Perfect.
drink together again.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.